why having a guide and guide and a teacher is so important, because they keep going to be feeding you back.
Today I have with me Melody Lubin. She was one of the first women I actually journeyed any sort of, going to build that first.
Yep.
And then I'm going to trust that everything else is going to...
I don't know if that is the right direction, but I want to take some steps just to see how it feels as I go. The path is going to humble you regardless.
Truly.
Welcome to Unmasked Founders with Leslie Kay. This is the podcast that goes beyond the highlight reel of entrepreneurship. Instead of focusing on the accolades and achievements, this show explores the real moments that shape founders, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and the lessons that transform both the business and the human behind it. Hosted by me, Leslie Kay, an entrepreneur who has built empires and discovered the cost of success. Unmasked Founders is a space for honest conversations about growth, resilience, and staying true to who you are. Whether listeners are just starting out or scaling to the next level, this is where real stories are told. Welcome to Unmasked Founders, a conversation with me, Leslie Kay.
Welcome back to another episode of Unmasked Founders. Today I have with me Melody Lubin. I have known Melody for, near on 5 years now. She was one of the first women I actually journeyed any sort of tantra practice with. Today we're going to get into some juicy conversations, of course, about the woman underneath the business she has built, but also what it means to really stay true to yourself and kind of true to the magic of woman as you build a big business in this life. One of the biggest things I see, and sometimes I fall victim to this, is women forgetting themselves in business. Like, who is the woman underneath the business that you're building? Who is the woman that needs to be nourished and to spend a week in the forest with other women, which might sound a bit woo-woo to some, but definitely if you haven't tried it, it's pure medicine for your soul. So thank you for joining me, Melody.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Unmasked Founders is all about the conversations behind the highlight reels. So I will get you to speak into some of your success and where you're at in the world, and I guess the life you've been able to build for yourself through your business, through service. But I would love for this to just be a conversation of like, what is it to be a woman in business? And, you know, you definitely sit in the mystery and the magic and the sacred arts and sexuality. And I'm very much like, well, not very much, I play in both realms, but I guess my online profile comes across as, you know, the 8-figure founder and the corporate woman. And there's a whole other world that I've played in, lived in for 6 years now. And I really am excited to have this conversation to start to bring to the awareness of maybe women that are at the beginning of experiencing themselves in a different way and realizing that, God, it doesn't have to all be strategy and spreadsheets, that, I don't know, like touching the essence of what it means to be woman can bring forth so much creativity and more stamina. So I'd love for you to intro yourself first, then we can get into some of these threads of what it means to be, I don't want to use the word embodied because not everyone will resonate with that, but more so a woman that is in deep relationship with herself in business.
Beautiful. Thank you. So my name's Melody. I've been working in my business and on my work for the last 8 years. And it's really in the kind of like last 2 to 3 years that it's really taken off. And I actually think this is a great point to start on, is so many people quit before it even gets going. And I had a good 4-5 years where it was a hard struggle trying to create magnetism, to try to create ease. And I think, you know, something that you and I are both really passionate about is that middle ground, right? It's like, how do we integrate these two places where we're the polarization of oscillating between burnout and then collapse,
Truly.
Burnout and collapse, and these distorted aspects of two ends of a spectrum, right? And then the archetypes of that is like the boss babe, the boss bitch, that's hustle, grind, push, overriding her aliveness and her sensation in her, what actually feels good for her. And then you've got like the more spiritual flow girl, collapsed archetype that really wants daddy to create her business for her and just wants to be in her magic, but her magic is actually swallowing her because she's not actually doing anything. She just thinks that she is. And I think you and I really meet in this. How do we integrate both of these aspects within ourselves.
Truly.
I feel like both of us have at some point in our lives been in both of those archetypes.
Truly.
And what we're so passionate about and what I'm so passionate about is how do we bring both of these qualities? And those first 5 years was actually oscillating between both of those, was actually really, I think, giving myself allowance to be in both of those consciously so I could see where they weren't serving me, that I'd lived for so long in burnout, hustle, overdrive in before I did this work. And I had adrenal fatigue, like I was sick. I was a fitness instructor and I was cycling around London going from spin class to Pilates class to then doing my own workouts for my own self-care, where actually I was just killing myself. And then I oscillated into doing absolutely nothing and like rebuilding myself from burnout. And I think there's such a titration that's required to actually be able to live with both of these where it feeds each other. It feeds each other. And there's kind of like a ecosystem internally that's built where we get to feel turned on, inspired and alive and then want to action that.
Yeah, I love this. And yeah, so many great points there already. People giving up. Like, honestly, business isn't hard. It's not. It's the self-commitment to keep going in the moments where it feels hard. And it feels hard likely because you're in resistance to something. And then, this, and I think it was you actually that said to me, because I sort of came to at burnout. I came to it like, left my marriage, blew up my business, started a spiritual awakening. And I was like, well, I don't even fucking know who I am and how to be in the world. And I think one of the things you said to me was like, my internal masculine had been whipping my feminine. I love when you express this. And it's like making her perform, making her work. There was no internal relationship or internal harmony. It was like, my masculine was like, you will fucking get up and you will do the things you need to do, versus now it's more of it's just a relationship. It's like, babe, what do you need to feel supported? Babe, what do you need to feel nourished in your business? And the maturity to be like, I get that you want to lay naked in the sun and eat fruit, but that's not going to build the business we want. So how do we have that harmony? And I love that because I think, similar to what you were saying, we always pendulum swing and there's two sides of the spectrum. And I see it often even in women that aren't like in the work. They've burnt out so bad that they're afraid to like get back into routine and get back into doing the things that they know they need to build the business, and it's not serving them. So I feel like there's this reconnection, this internal harmony, which I explain it as, that people need to find in order to, all right, here's the foundations that I need to have a successful business. Here's my non-negotiables. And what am I not negotiating on in my health, or what am I not negotiating on in my fitness? So it's making sure you get up and you go to the gym, or you get up and you do the walk, and actually building that balance. I would love to know, this is all about unmasking founders, and you said you've been in this 8 years, and like I've seen the success and the, I want to say the momentum build, where it feels like you're in this place where the women just come. We just did a week-long retreat in Perth, which is why you're here visiting us, with 21 women. What has it taken you, and what have you had to like let go of in your identity? And you've kind of touched on it in that first bit, to actually become the woman that can hold the expansion that you're experiencing.
Yeah, I love this. I feel like that first 5 years for me was really building my mastery. And I think that this is something that is skipped over, is that people, I see it all the time, women are entitled to having a successful business. We come in, we think we're magic. We think that we should just be entitled to people just flowing to us with ease. And there is a commitment piece and a devotion piece that is required, that it's like an internal energetic that you are working, that it's saying, no, I want this. No, I'm committed to this. Even if I can't have it right now, I'm going to keep working towards it. And there's something, I always think about it. It's like, if God just gave me $1 million and I just had unlimited clients flowing to me, what would I actually do? It's like a And it's not about proving who you are or what you are or the magic and the mastery that you have. It's your internal devotion to carving it. And so my first 5 years was a lot of humility. It was a lot of meeting my edges. It was a lot of me seeing where I thought I was further along in the path than I actually was, that my embodiment was not where I thought it was at all. And it was a lot of humility of me being willing to see those places and work with that. It was a lot of getting on my knees for my work, which is something I'm really passionate about. It's
not in the sense of, like giving head for her work, just to clarify that, on her knees to God.
Yeah, on my knees for like the thing that I so desperately desire and want to have in my life. I think that there's something so beautiful, again, being carved by that humility and that willingness of every time it knocks you down that you say, no, I still want this. I still feel this. I still know this to be what I'm here to do. And being carved by the thing that's bigger than you and deeper than you to keep you moving on the days where it's not easy, where you're not getting results, where you're not getting the feedback that you desire, where you're not getting the likes on your social media posts, where you're not getting the traction. It's like there is something deeper inside of me that knows that this is for me. It's like any other devotion that you have in your life. It's like your kids. It's like they are a part of your life and you have to feed them and you have to make sure they clean their teeth and go to bed on time and all of these things. And it's like, how am I relating to my business in that?
Truly.
And my first 5 years was that. It was a lot of not knowing where my payments were going to come. It was a lot of not knowing how I'd pay my rent, get my groceries. It was really chop wood, carry water. It was a lot of investing in, and this is something that I think is huge, is getting the support from the people that you see can support you and being willing to be helped. So many people think that they're skilled, think that they're masterful, and they just want to do it themselves. Not because they think that they can, because they're unwilling to pay for the help that is required. How are you going to get £10,000 clients when you are not willing to invest £50,000, £100,000, £10,000? £300 on a session,
Truly.
And I think this is the energetic understanding of what it takes for you as a client to put that in yourself, to know what the people that you want to have in your spaces are going through to invest in themselves.
Truly.
So it's like you are going through all the gates. And that's what the first 5 years was.
Yeah, the initiation into responsibility. And we just journeyed that for a week in your retreat, but I love that. One of the things I love the most about you is that conversation. And one of the things I love about your work is there's a lot of feminine teachers out there. I don't want to throw shade at people, but to your point before, this like promise of like feminine receivership. And where everyone's like anti-hustle culture. And I'm anti-hustle because I actually think hustle is you're doing too much of the wrong things just to be busy because you don't know how to have space in your life. I actually don't think anyone hustles. I think we just make shit up to keep busy, to not spend time with ourselves. You're avoiding, you're not hustling, but that's a whole other conversation. We might even touch on it today. But I think for me, and especially because I like weave the worlds, like I marry the very, traditional business with how do I still nurture the woman underneath that? Like I took a week out to literally go and learn archetypes. To some people, that's madness. To me, I was like, I haven't touched my magic for a minute and I need to touch it to remember who I am outside of Leslie, the 8-figure founder, outside of Leslie, the business strategist. And I think a lot of people sort of miss the point in my view. And maybe they're a bit scared to like touch that part of them. And for a lot of them, I mean, me 6 years ago, I would have been like, well, before my first retreat with you, I also would have been like, how is spending a week learning more about the full expression of who I am as a woman going to help me make money? Can you speak to this like almost like the path of self-discovery through the sacred arts? And I mean, you came from you were like a corporate fitness trainer, so to the woman that might be listening that's maybe like spiritually curious, on the edge of self-discovery, wants to they hear these buzzwords, masculine and feminine, and you need to be more feminine, and this is what it's like to be a woman. And in my view, the distortion of, well, you just surrender and open and the world will come meet you. Yes, and only if you've set the foundations first. So yeah, can you speak to that experience of like what it means in your view to be a full spectrum woman? Like we can have the big business and fucking know what it means to express our full range.
Yeah, I love this. I feel like if we look at the corporate world, what we're looking at is a sterile world. And I think that is something that we are so starved on within ourselves, right? It's like we wake up at a certain time of day. We have all this structure. There's not a lot of space for a lot of life to live through. And the thing is that we don't actually have an imprint of what it's like for life to live through.
Oh, yes.
So we are, as kids, that's what we're doing. Life is living through. And then something happens as we get older where it becomes rigid and it becomes structured and that life stops living. And I think so much of your journey that I've got to witness is that you were this and you have this huge business that makes all this money and that has all this structure and this boss babe archetype. And your journey, which I've got to be a part of, is like watching that life come through, right? And what that does is it makes you more connectable. It's like it takes out that sterile aspect of business and it starts to bring in feeling.
I'm going to let you continue, but I just want to pause here because like for me, what just came as a visual was like all of these overweight, emotionally closed. This was me, by the way. I was 120 kilos. Like sterile is such a good word. It almost makes me want to cry, actually. Like the version of me that didn't let myself live beyond making money. And I see it so often, like even women that come to me because they sense this thread of there's more to this woman than just building a business. It's like I get excited when we help make 7 figures, but I get more excited when, I don't know, you fuck your husband for the first time in 6 months. Or you have the conversation you've been putting off with him and now you actually have a bit more intimacy in your life. And this sterile image that just came to me as you spoke, I was like, there's so many women on the, like, they think they're about to burn out. They think their life is void of emotion. They think they feel empty, but they're just not letting themselves feel. And they're like, they've allowed themselves to be like sterilized by, well, you have to show up as the business owner and the responsible leader and there's no space for the woman underneath. So I just wanted to add that visual in for the woman that might be listening thinking, fuck, she just touched something. What it touched in me was the image of suppression. Suppression in the name of success.
Totally. And all of my work is in service to the feminine aspect, which is our aliveness, which is our essence, right? It's so that people can feel something through you. And when they can feel something through you, they're not just called to the fact that you can create an 8-figure business for them and give them all the structure and give them all the things that they need to do. They're actually called to you because they can feel a part of you that they feel resonance with. Oh, Leslie's so much more than just the structure, just the 8 figures, the funnels and all of this kind of stuff. It actually makes you connectable and it makes you magnetic and life moves to you easier. So of course your business expands. Of course things become more easeful because life is responding to the aspect of you that is living, not just the structures, the funnels, the marketing, all the things that we have to do to have this success. Life is responding to our aliveness. And so that journey of being able to touch, and my work is feminine led. And I think this is a misconception that it's no masculine. It's actually not at all. It's very integrated and it's just a response, which is almost organic. It's like, cool, when you see the chocolate souffle on the dessert menu and you feel your desire to it, the next thing you're going to do is order it. You're not just going to sit there and think about it and daydream about the souffle. You're going to order it, you're going to eat it, you're going to have it. And that's how my business and my life works. It's like I feel the creative impulse, I feel the aliveness, I feel the thing that I want to put out into the world. And then it's organic that I'm turned on, inspired by this thing that I'm going to start to act on it. You're not just going to think about your trip in Mexico. You're going to book the flights, you're going to start looking at your Airbnbs, you're going to start researching the best beaches, and that feeds the aliveness and the excitement for it. And that's what the principles of my business that I'm interested in about is how do I feel my creativity, my impulse, my aliveness to create something, to serve something out into the world, and then how do I keep feeding it and like pouring life into it by creating the landing page, starting to talk about it on social media, get the marketing going, and it starts to evolve and have more. And we have that inside of ourselves too. It's like, okay, cool, when I'm dancing in the kitchen, when I'm cooking my food, or I'm dancing when I'm starting to do my marketing and all these things, I start to feel the essence of it and it becomes alive. And that's what's being responded to. And that's what I'm so passionate about, is this integration of those two pieces.
Yeah.
And that people in the more corporate world come to you because they feel that you have this aliveness, this je ne sais quoi, this essence, this something, that you're not this sterile woman that creates the 8-figure business. You're this alive, erotic woman turned on, not turned on just in the sense of your body, but turned on by life.
Truly.
And that's what makes have something that's unique.
Yeah, I love this because the uniqueness for me, which you would know, but more for everyone else, is the essence of who I am.
Yes.
It's the part of me that I can touch, that I do have access to, like the full range of, like archetypal work. And I kind of want to filter this through the conversation, hopefully in a way everyone can keep up, because I know not all of my listeners live in both worlds. But for me, if I was to distill it, because it's so much more than this, but if I was to try and explain what it is, it's like giving yourself permission to be all parts of you, especially, not just, but especially the parts that you deem as unlovable or unpalatable or unacceptable in the world. So like a wild woman, for example, this like untamed, in my view, wild woman's crazy or has the capacity to be crazy. And when I first journeyed her, I coughed up blood because my mum's a drug addict. So she kind of is the embodiment in a shadowy sense of the wild woman. And it was a very liberating experience for me because I got to see where I wasn't allowing myself to be my full expression because I was so fearful of becoming my mum, and I was rejecting her expression of being wild and free. So yeah, for me, I guess this work and how it touches into building business is you get to understand your capacity, and inside of that, like stretch your capacity. In the last retreat we did, Hor really stretched me because I have such a big life. I have a beautiful husband, I have 2 great businesses, I have a beautiful family, and there's this part of me that I needed to integrate that will let me have more. And so Hor stretched me, and if Hor, the word triggers you, it's probably where your work needs to start, but Hor stretched me because it showed me where I was actually still playing small because I felt like it was greedy to want more from my life. And it allowed me to touch like a deeper access point of giving myself more. Like this and more, please. And how much better can it get? And to me, that's the whole point of life. There's no destination. It's how do I keep opening to what's possible whilst nurturing what I also have? And I think, I would love you to speak to what it took you to move from closed and corporate into this work. So you've touched on, 8 years of actually mastering it, which I think is great. Most people give up their business after 2 years, even in the corporate world or the traditional business sense. They don't allow anything to mature. I love that you brought in entitlement. There's such an entitlement of, well, I'm working hard, so it should work, but maybe you haven't invested the money with someone that can tell you what you actually need to focus on. And maybe you're just not fully, if I wasn't going to use the word embodied, like masterful in what it is you're out in the world doing. I built 2 8-figure businesses before I became a business coach. I see so many business coaches pop up that the only business they've built is their coaching business. And I'm like, that's not masterful. Yeah, there's a strategy that your coach probably told you about the foundations you need to build a successful coaching business. Great, but it's very different to building a brick and mortar business, which I was in for 15 years and 10 of those years on my own. So yeah, I love that. But I'd love to know for those that are like, wow, this is such an interesting conversation and not one that I thought I was going to listen to today. And maybe are like, I'm curious to know what the transition was like. If you can touch on how you started to peel back those layers and find this deeper essence inside of you.
Yeah, so I think I'll start with full transparency. Running a business was never a desire, a dream for me. That was never something that I considered. It wasn't like it was never something that when I was young was like, I want to grow up and run a business. I'd never thought about that. A lot of it came from my desire for a relationship and desire to just live really authentically. I've never been afraid to kind of quit my job or leave my country or those kind of things. I've always had a very innate ability to say yes to the things that are calling me. My system was really shut down. As I said earlier, I was in a lot of burnout, a lot of adrenal fatigue. All of this was unconscious. I believed that I was fully functioning, fully thriving, fully successful. I even thought I was happy, thought I was happy.
Yes.
Did not feel happy, but thought I was like, I have all these things, therefore I am happy. And there was a lot of misery inside of me, a lot of sadness, a lot of depression, that kind of thing. And it was a calling for me to go on a healing journey. I didn't know that it was going to lead to a business. I didn't know that I was going to create from what I was doing. It was just like a very interpersonal journey that I needed to go and have. And as I started to weave, I was teaching exercise classes and there was this desire for me to run retreats. Like it kind of looked like that. But I didn't know that it was going to be a business and actually a massive thing within those first 5 years for me. And I spoke about this at my most recent retreat, was getting really honest with myself about where this was a hobby and that there was not an internal commitment to any of this. And I think that is a very common relationship to have to all aspects, where our partners are kind of just a hobby, where our kids are kind of just a hobby. And we're just creating a house is just a hobby. And there was something inside of me that had to get really serious about some things. And within that, I knew that getting serious about things started to make me sterile. So I was like, if I'm getting serious about things, what do I need to continue to integrate into my life? And I think that this full expression piece that you have spoken about and touched on, where we have these archetypes, and again, just for clarity, that they say there's 64 aspects of the feminine. So there's 64 essences and parts of ourselves that we can access. And so if there's 64 aspects of them, archetypes are kind of a framework of what those 64 aspects and qualities of ourselves are. And so I wanted to start to integrate the 64 aspects of myself. I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but I wanted to have all these parts of me online so that I could be fully expressed in what I was doing. Because anything that I'm doing in my life, relationships, I don't want to be in a relationship that costs me my authenticity. I don't want to be in a relationship that costs me who I am at my core, that makes me put on this suit and put me in a box. And so I also didn't want my business to be that. I didn't want to have to put on these clothes to be a person and go and talk about these things. I wanted to be who I am, and that be the magnetism and that be the resonance.
Yes.
Because the more of yourself that you can integrate, the more resonance certain people are going to have with you.
Yeah.
Because you've got these 64 qualities integrated. So if some person resonates with that quality, they're going to feel resonance with you. And then another person resonates with that quality. I didn't want to have a job that I had to be a person to go and live as. I didn't want to put on my suit and go and do this 9-to-5 thing and then come home. I wanted my business to be an expression of me. And I think that's a really core principle and foundation that can start to get integrated even when your business isn't that. Even when your business is this more boxed in archetype.
Yeah.
And I know that you went on this journey of starting to allow parts of you to come through so that people could start to feel who Leslie is.
Truly.
And that's what I'm excited about. And that's what so much of my journey has been. It's like, cool. So if I went on this burnout, adrenal fatigue, I need to heal so that I can actually touch who I am. Because without me knowing who I am, there's nothing. There's nothing. My business has been created from inside, not outside.
I love this. And I actually just want to, we spoke to like people giving up in their business too easy, but what you just touched on then and you shared it in the retreat is not everyone's meant to have a business. And there's jobs and structures in place. I don't agree with all of the structures that are in place from a mainstream level, but you spoke to, even if because what I love it, and it also is, I'm like, oh, girl, you're not meant to be here. Like, everyone will go do a week-long retreat and then decide they're a feminine embodiment fucking teacher, or they'll go do a coaching certificate and become a business coach. And I'm like, you've never fucking built a business in your life. Now, more to the people that then devote 6 years of building the business and being in service to what they're building inside of that keep getting the mentors and doing the work and keep opening up to the path that they've, I guess, been given, if they're true to what's come through, versus the entitlement of some people that are just like, it's almost like this wound I feel of, well, I think I'm better than her and she can do this, so I'm just going to show up and give it a crack. And yeah, not everyone is meant to have a business. And freedom could look different in that maybe you're like, well, I don't want to, more so in the spiritual communities, those that sort of have a spiritual awakening decide they don't want to be in the matrix anymore, decide that they must have a business because they don't want to be in the matrix anymore, and don't actually have the foundations or the inner relationship or the inner masculine frame to penetrate the world, because there is a level of penetration. Like, I don't want to get up every day and fucking be on my social media, but I am because I have to show up, because that's how I get clients. And that's the responsibility that I took on when I said I wanted to build a business. So yeah, I want to touch to this piece of, I guess, unmasking the illusion of entitlement of, you didn't actually want a business. It's just a path that unfolded for you. I built big 8-figure businesses and knew I didn't want a business in that way. So I re-entered the world with like a slower build and more connection and consciousness. But I think, and I just told everyone, don't quit on your business at year 2. But I also think there's a level of, this is why I do the work. I want to know what my truth is. Like, the reason that I went back to a week-long retreat, when it made no sense to me, half my friends were like, how much more embodied can you get? I'm like, I'm not going for the embodiment piece. I'm going for like to touch my magic again, to like feel more of who I know I can be in a world that tries to distill that. And to find more truth, because if I sit at my desk, or I actually had a choice to go to, literally the same week, to go to Koh Samui to go into a marketing business retreat for 3 days. And I was like, I could do that, and marketing is my biggest edge, so I wanted to do that. But it's like I felt like there was just so much noise and so much pressure and like ready for my next level up. But I think me not intentionally making enough space to figure out what that was, or to feel into what's true. And we're kind of pivoting me and my partner, lucky, are pivoting our businesses right now in service because of the week that we spent with you. Like, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have gone. It's stretching me a lot because my logical brain wants to hold on to everything I know. And even last night we were laying in bed and he was like, wow, when you choose a path, it really starts to work you, hey? And I was like, yes, welcome. Because we're going more into couples work and holding couples retreats, and it really actually illuminates everywhere that we feel like we're not in integrity in our relationship, and we have a fucking solid relationship. But we were reflecting on and laughing on, like, okay, God, hilarious, because now we've like said yes to this path. I don't even feel like we chose it, and I don't even feel like we had a choice. We just said yes to it. We were like, okay, I hear you. We're going to take the steps and do the thing, and it's fucking scary. But to my point, the reason I chose the retreat, maybe my soul knew that this path was needed to unfold, but I needed to get out of the mundane and get out of my normal routine and, like stop being, following the steps and, building my business in this direction because something didn't feel like it was clicking. And to loop it back into what I was speaking about some people just aren't meant to have businesses, I'm willing to face the truth, even if the truth is no. Or the truth is you're not meant to have this or hold this. And I would love to have this conversation because you said it at retreat and I was like, thank fuck she's having this conversation with these women because nobody is. They want to sell them the fucking dream. Like, yeah, come to a retreat. It's going to change your life and you're going to be a feminine fucking embodiment teacher. And you do. I've studied Tantra for 6 years. I'm not a feminine embodiment teacher because it's just not what I meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not. I meant to weave worlds in some way. And now that I have a partner, like I feel how that's coming together in helping people have more connected relationships with themselves so they can have more connected relationships with their partner. But I could have done what everyone else did and fucking started to teach embodiment, but it just didn't ever feel true.
Mm.
I won't ever give up the work because it is a part of who I am, but yeah, you know, if I had have gone off after our first retreat and just started teaching archetypes, it just wouldn't have been true. And I see so many people make the jump from like corporate to consciousness to now I'm just a tantric arts teacher. And I don't know if all of that is actually truth or entitlement. So I would love to open this conversation.
I love this conversation. I first just want to say it's such a disservice for people to go and extract something from an experience that they have and have just decided that they're going to teach it. The whole point in this work and the whole point in embodiment is that you become a living, breathing example of what it is that you are teaching and serving. It is so much bigger than just going to a 7-day retreat and having an activation in your partnership or your couple or your sexuality or whatever it is that you've journeyed. It's so much more intimate, and to not take yourself on that intimate journey is such a disservice, first off, to the work, to God, and to the teachings. It's so extractive, it's gross. And so I'm just going to leave that there. That the whole point of, and I feel like what we're trying to do in the coaching industry, and it's funny because I really feel like the coaching industry went through this huge expansion over COVID and it was riding a massive wave for a few years. You are only going to see the real ones left in the next couple of years.
Truly.
Because it is not sustainable where it's going, and people are extracting the work and lying to people. They are lying to people and letting people go on this facade that they have created. And what we are trying to do in this industry is adjust the distortion that we see out in the world. And yet this behavior continues to contribute to the distortion. And it's funny, it's like going back to having a coach and having a guide and having a teacher is actually your integrity with yourself of I am willing to be adjusted by somebody that can see the things that I cannot, so I can become a deeper embodiment. And it is always the ones that want to extract the work that do not have coaches,
truly,
that do not have guides, that do not have teachers, that do not have mentors. I've known you for 6 years and you have always had in various different threads of work, relational work, sexuality work, self-intimacy work, money work, business work. You have always had mentors in all of these realms, not just, I got full chills, not just one, in all of them. And it's like, that is your devotion to your own internal carving that gives you the permission to be able to teach what you are teaching. It's always the ones that want to hide, that just want to extract, that don't invest, that don't want to do, you know, and it's like, and it's not to say that you need to have a teacher. That's not what I'm saying. It's an integral piece to your own development and transformation that you are saying yes to. And that's the truth. That's what's going to take you deeper into, and I said this at the retreat, somebody asked a question of how do you know what's yours to teach? And I said, when you are teaching, you are getting the feedback in real moment of whether, if you are truly listening, there is something inside of you that is going to be saying, oh, this is off. When I'm giving the words and I'm saying the thing, if you are truly in integrity, you are going to feel, oh, I'm not ready to be teaching this yet. And the humility of the honesty of this is not mine are the questions that we need to be having with ourselves. And that is why having a guide and a teacher is so important, because they keep going to be feeding you back where you're on and where you're off. You might think that you're meant to have this business or be facilitating in this way, and it's like, maybe it's the translation looks different for you. And your journey to go, and your willingness and your humility to go on that journey of what is truth and how is it honest for me to translate this. Maybe it's taking it into your corporate.
Quick pause. Are these conversations resonating with you? Do you finally feel seen in your business journey? This is the entire mission of Unmasked Founders. To strip back the highlight reel and tell the raw truth about multi, 6 and 7-figure success. We're here for the emotional costs, the days you want to quit, and the breakthroughs that follow. And we can bring you these essential conversations thanks to the support of our incredible partners, Cacao Collective and the OE Agency. These are the businesses who empower founders to keep going, providing the systems and the professional polish you need when you're busy navigating the emotional storm. If you love what you're hearing, don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button right now and check out Cacao Collective and the OE Agency in the show notes. Now, let's get back to it.
Office, so that you can be the embodiment and the touch point for people of, oh, there's another way. Maybe that's how you do it. And it's the path is that we're willing to go on the journey of getting honest of how do I translate this in the most authentic way? Is it to copy your structure of your business, or is it actually to find a uniqueness? Is it because you've been working with London and Justin for years?
Yes, yeah.
And you're creating your own way of sharing work that you have learned through them in a way that feels true for you.
Yes.
And this honesty of where am I, first off, to be a beginner. To not start where somebody else that has mastered and crafted and cultivated years worth of experience. So you are at the 8-figure marks and I'm at the 6-figure marks, and it grows and it expands and it deepens and it widens. And that's my journey. I'm not taking the structure that you have done for your 8-figure businesses. I am learning what is the way for me to get myself to my multi 6 figures.
Yes.
To my high 6 figures, which is the journey that I'm on now that feels really exciting. And I'm hungry for it.
Yeah.
And it's like we have to be willing to go on our own path and be humble in where we are in that moment, to be living the experience and the wisdom of that, as opposed to taking steps way too far.
And I want to add to this, because I've studied with Justin London for, it's actually almost 5 years now.
Yeah, wow.
And I've pushed them, asked them, inquired about releasing a program so I can be certified in their work. And so to this point of extraction, if you really want to do the thing, you have a program where you will teach people this work. Most leaders, teachers, when they get to masterful level, they will release a way for you to follow their path and follow their lineage in a way that's true, because you're paying them for their work and you're also spending the time to actually know it and embody it, and you're not afraid of the reflection of where you're out of integrity with that. So even to conversation with hubby last night, where we were like, wow, this is the places that it's working us. We're willing to see that. We're willing to go, wow, here's everywhere we're in alignment and we're ready, and here's maybe 2 places where we actually need to recommit to being in integrity in this place. And because we're in a partnership, we can see that inside of ourselves. But if you don't have a partner that's willing to give you your shadows or your reflections, you need to pay for a coach. You need someone to be like, yo, you're out of integrity. Or actually, in this scenario, you're the problem, not the person that you're trying to blame, whatever it might be. So, yeah, I just wanted to add that piece of, for me, the integrity is, don't just come and extract someone's lifelong devotion to their craft. Say, hey, I love what you're about and I can see where parts of this is true for my path. Can I work with you to build through my expression of this? There's actually a woman at the moment that I'm becoming friends with, and parts of her business is similar to where I want to take mine. And I will have a conversation where I'm like, hey, this feels really true. Can I pay you to understand how you've built this?
Beautiful.
Rather than like, sometimes, and I think because integrity is so big to me, sometimes I'm like, even having the thought feels like I'm being out of integrity. I should just message her and tell her that this is, it's like, I'm so like sensitive to not being true, because I believe in like there's an energetic undertone to everything. And whether she's aware of it or I'm aware of it or people around you are aware of it, if I didn't speak that truth, she would feel it in some way. She would block the relationship or not let me into her inner circle because she would feel it. So I'm very big in like cleanliness, in like, hey, this is what I'm thinking and feeling. Are you open to it? I would love to learn from you. Versus like moving into someone's fear because there is a resonance and a desire and not being true for. It's like, yeah, I desire friendship, and there's a part of me that's really fucking curious in how you've built this. And can I hold both of those? And can I have that conversation and be like, I really want to understand some of your mastery. Can we have this relationship and this relationship?
And you have to have so much humility to be even considering to ask that question. The vulnerability of, hey, you have this thing that I feel like is true for me, and I'm like turned on by what you've created, and I feel like I'd love to create my own version of it or take the steps so that I can have something similar or equal impact or whatever it is that you're turned on by. And the humility to go and have that inquiry with her. And that is the key, is the humility in this work and these businesses of, I don't know everything and I'm willing and I want to figure it out. I don't know if that is the right direction, but I want to take some steps just to see how it feels as I go. And that humility. And I think, the path is going to humble you regardless.
Truly.
That's the epic part.
That's what you're asking for.
Totally. And that's also the brilliance of, especially if you have an epic coach and guide that has really incredible sight, is that they're going to humble you into the places that you can't see. And so it keeps, and I think that is the key to having a thriving and successful business, because it's like, if you're not willing to see yourself, you're going to jump ship pretty early on. And it's that, and my teacher, Perry Chase, I worked with her for 6 years. And then I had a teacher before that, Sigourney Bell, who Leslie also worked with for 2 years. And that willingness to have them reflect to you your own places where you think that you're further than you are keeps you on the thread of what's actually here, so that you don't build something forever far out that actually you have to come back and clean up all the mess. And I've witnessed people do that. And it is not pretty when you have to take something all the way down. It is such a humble experience.
Well, this was my experience of my $20 million recruitment business.
Totally.
I built it out of range. I actually didn't have any relationship with myself. So I literally just built it on sheer determination and hustle. And there is an element of that I think we need in building businesses. But the reason I couldn't hold it was because I wasn't in relationship with myself. So the whole thing was out of range. And there was mess I had to clean up. And when I got to the pinnacle, I was like, I actually don't have capacity to clean up the mess I've made. So I blew the motherfucker up.
You just got to blow it up and just put a torchfire on that shit and poof.
So, but
not ideal.
Not
though.
ideal.
Especially if you have staff. I don't know where you were
40 people.
Yeah.
40 employees in the office and like 10,000 temps working across Australia. Now, I was very responsible in my burning it to the ground. I sold out my contracts to it. So I sold out the assets to another recruitment firm. So no one lost their job. Everyone got paid. Right. I was already very responsible. So being responsible hasn't. Actually, I had to come back into right relationship with it because I was very responsible from very young because I helped raise my younger daughters. They felt like daughters, my younger sisters. And they felt it. There was a period when I wanted to rebel from being responsible. That was actually Costa Rica. The first time was, I actually don't want to be responsible anymore. I've been responsible since I've been fucking, I moved out of home when I was 14.
Yeah.
I've been responsible for fucking 30 odd years, so 34 years. So, for me, there was a 12-month hiatus from being responsible, but I wasn't responsible in like I guess, and you know what I mean by embodied, but for everyone else, like I wasn't responsible in the true sense. I was responsible as like a punishment almost. And if I'm not responsible, I'll die because I'm 14 years old and I don't live at home anymore and I've got to figure this out. And then when I was 21, I actually bought a house and moved my younger sisters in with me. So I was responsible for other people. And then building the business is same. I was responsible for 40 employees, well, 10,000 really, but 40 directly. So when I did blow it up, when I'd had enough, everyone's super was paid. I sold out the employment contracts, make sure everyone had a job. There was, I see people blow shit up without any responsibility. It's like, for me, it was like I'd held it together and been the responsible one and the grown up and the one that was carrying everything for so long that I had no more capacity. And like, I'm suffocating under the weight of being responsible and I can't. And I'd walked myself to that place, so I wasn't willing to let anyone else like suffer because of my choices. And I think that's a important discernment, is that everything was my choice. And in fact, in my spiritual awakening, one of the reasons that I woke up was because when shit was going wrong, I realized I was the common denominator. So I was the only one that could actually do anything. So to anyone that might be listening, just to throw this in, if life feels hard, pinpoint, like the last 3 things, like maybe it was a partnership that went wrong, or staff members fucking you over, or a relationship that's failing. Maybe you are in a sexless marriage. You're the common denominator. And it's really humbling to be like, oh, if I'm the common denominator, then to some degree I'm the problem. And not in the sense that I was like a bad person. I think when you say, well, you're the problem, you're like, well, I'm a good person. How can I be the problem? Well, maybe you're a people pleaser and you're saying yes to everything you should be saying no to. So I want to readjust back to this thread of truth, because everything we're speaking to here, the embodiment and the doing the work and having coaches and humbling yourself enough to have reflection. And I said this a little while ago, it's like I keep doing the work to keep finding what's true. Because my strategy coaches, my business coaches, who I fucking love, are going to tell me how to make the most money in the most efficient way. They're not going to ask me if it's true. They just won't. They'll give me the strategy. It's my responsibility to go, yeah, this feels true, but this doesn't, and I want to understand why. And I've been in, I guess, inquiry with where my work wants to take me probably for a year now. I've been rebuilding, I've been making more money, and it just hasn't felt like the truest expression until your retreat. And now God's like, here's the thing, figure it out. Thank you. So yeah, I want to sort of start to wrap up because we've been talking for an hour now, of course. In this space of like, how do you find truth? Some people might be confused because I told you not to give up and then I told you only do the stuff that's meant for you. How do you know that? I'm actually going to share first and then I'll throw it to you, because I think what I feel that people get confused with is resistance because it feels new. So I've had this new body of work, this new whole institute of how to have a life with everything, how to have the relationship and the business.
We love it.
Oh my God, it's a big mission. And this is why I want to touch on it, because we were at the beach and I was writing these notes and it felt great. And I sat down at my computer and I realized how big it was. And I was like, I can't do this. This is huge. I'm just going to niche myself back into being a business coach because this feels safe and I've built the big businesses. It feels a lot easier to market. It's very clear as to, I will help you build a 7-figure business. Great. And God has asked of me, and I called it in for years, to be in service with my partner. And my husband wants to be in service with me. And so I literally had this body of work move through me where it's you get to have it all. And to me, that's business, which is freedom. It's the relationship, which is full of intimacy and connection, and you feel like you're on the same team, whether you're both entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in the same business, which also has a layer of complexity. And then also the self. Because I think especially relationships, which is also children, but if you've got a business, a relationship, and let's say family and child, the self gets left out way too often. So I've distilled it down to these are the 3 pillars that you need. And wow, this is big. This is big work to actually birth and to hold. And so rather than get overwhelmed with this whole institute that I want to build of how to have a big life and have everything you want, I was I'm just going to take the relationship pillar and I'm going to build that first.
Yep.
And then I'm going to trust that everything else is going to flow when it should. So I'd love for you to talk to this like finding truth, but also if I was to distill it into like strategy words, it's like I can see the macro, the big picture of what I'm here to create. And right now I'm taking a very micro approach to it because when I look up and I look at what I've been asked to do, I'm like, I have no idea how. Okay, I'm just going to focus back on this one micro thing. We have our couples retreat coming up in a few weeks.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God, we're half sold out because God was like, here's the thing, do it and I'll bring the people.
Yeah.
And this is sometimes like to your point actually where you were saying, you know when you're talking about it, whether it feels true. I've like resisted it for so long. I don't know whether it's because I was waiting for husband to come so we could be in it together. But at your retreat, when everyone's asking these questions, and I checked with you after because I was like, fuck, that really became the Leslie and Lucky show for a minute. I hope Melody's okay. But it was like, God was like, this, do this, stop skating around it. People want to hear how you've built these foundations. And that's when I would listen and I was like, because like I've been in this for 6 years, but it's never felt true for me to actually bring it forward into the world. And at your retreat, it was so easeful. The conversations were like, I didn't prep for it because I didn't know it was going to happen, you know. It just naturally was like, well, this is how I see the world and I'm going to share that with you. And everyone was like, fuck, I need more of this. And that's when I was like, okay, God, I'm listening. And then we released a retreat and 50% sold out. And I'm like, okay, like even if that's it, even if it's just 5 couples we serve, great. We've started, we're on the path. So I would love for you to speak to this like, and it comes back to what we said about, you know, masculine and feminine integration, because there will be resistance. There will be the very human part of us. And sometimes a little girl that's like, Mummy, this is scary. Mummy, are you sure? Talking to myself, not my actual mum, because we have to reparent ourselves. But this little girl that was like, and I feel it now, like the responsibility. The responsibility of like, I'm like, are you sure, God? Are we sure this is for me? Can't I just do this little bit that I've been playing safe over here and like just stay here because it feels safe?
But also so boring.
It is boring.
Like you want your own expansion and evolution and you want to teach the thing that turns you on.
I do. But it's a lot.
Yeah, of course. That's how you know you're on the right step, though, I think. And I think like this is such an important feeling to speak to because you've felt this before.
I have.
When you did your business, when you started showing up on social media, when you came to sexuality work, it's like always meeting that edge and you are just at your next edge. And I think that responsibility piece that you spoke to, it's like you've been given something from God and it is your responsibility to bring it through. And that's how I see our full expression of who we are as individuals and then the service and the things that we've been given. And also speaking like it comes so innately because it's your lived wisdom. So it's innate to want to speak about it and want to share about it. And I think that's how you know when something is true, because it's like you spoke about the 3 pillars and the first pillar is self. It's like we have to know ourselves. We have to know who we are in relationship. Everything is a relationship. Our business is relationship. Money is relationship. Learning to communicate is relationship. Implementing your boundaries is relationship. Life is relational.
Truly.
So the first pillar is who am I in relationship to life? How is money showing up for me? How do I receive the sun when it kisses my skin? Am I somebody that can be with nature or is that even too much for me? Can I be in stillness? What's my relationship to stillness? So it's first off like finding out who we are and then letting everything from that space emanate as relationship. And you spoke about having like buying this house that you had your sisters in, and I see that, and I see this in a lot of young women that have had volatile home lives. Is we have the imprint of the immature masculine, and it's the over responsibility, where it's not actually true responsibility, but it's a protection mechanism of responsibility that we embody and that we start living out in the world. And so much of us living authentically is that we dismantle those spaces, whether it's the people pleaser, whether it's the over responsible archetype, whatever it is, and that we actually live as the most honest version of who we are. And how we know if it's honest, my friend Kevin, he speaks about this all the time, but how we know if it's honest is it gives us more energy. And that doesn't mean the responsibility piece is that we need to do the spreadsheets, even if it's life sucking. But actually, when we see it as doing the spreadsheets, implementing the funnels, doing the structure, the marketing, we know that it's feeding something. And if we're honest with ourselves, that does give us more energy. It's just the way that we're doing it is that we're probably doing too much of it, or it's not actually true.
Or we're in resistance, or the younger parts are in resistance and they don't want to be responsible versus, and I shared this at your retreat, like if my son doesn't want to go to the shops and we have no food in the house, I'm not going to be like, okay, we'll starve. It's fine.
Let's just stay here and play.
And eat fucking Maccas because it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love you and we're going to the shop. So what do you need? I don't care if he kicks or screams, or he doesn't anymore because he knows who's boss, but because I put in place those boundaries. He knows that if I make a decision, he gets on board with the decision because I'm the parent, not him.
Yeah.
And I think what you're speaking to here, it's like we feel exhausted by it because we're fighting ourselves internally.
Totally.
We're letting the tantrum play out more than it needs to, so it's draining our system.
And responsibility just is. It just is. There's no fighting it. There's no getting away from it. It's like, cool, if I want to live the life of my dreams, if I want to live the vision that I know is possible to me and experience it here in this world, it's all on me. It's not on anybody else to bring that forward. So therefore, responsibility is just a factual aspect of living life.
Truly.
And what the system allows is actually a very easy way where we don't have to learn this energetic of responsibility. It's like we just get our bills paid, we just get a monthly payment, and that's that, and that we just live our life within that means. But if you are a visionary and a creator and a leader, it's like, okay, you got to think outside that structure and how am I going to bring that into this world?
Yes.
And I think that's it's like people went into the coaching industry because they thought that they could travel to Bali and Mexico and just do a couple sessions a day and live this life, blah, 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 blah. And actually, the more that I step into my vision and the things that I want to create, the more I'm like, cool, I need stability. I need a home. I need to choose one place that I can live so that I can actually do this, because it's not just about my lifestyle and that my business is my lifestyle. Yes, I want to be able to travel. I want to have the freedom to go wherever I want, whenever I want. I want to have the resources to be able to book us a place in Mexico so that we can come together and hang out for a week or whatever it is. That's a part of my life, but it isn't my life.
Truly.
My life is my vision and my mission that's been given to me by God. And so my desire is to actually walk and experience that in this lifetime. And that's what helps me anchor it.
Yeah, I love that. So good. It's our responsibility, but not in like a, I don't want to do this, in like a thank you.
Thank you.
You're like, thank you for putting this dream on my heart.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the experiences that are going to make me embodied in this.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for trusting me.
Totally. And like with the institute that you're creating, I think so often we can have a very true experience. So your business work, which feeds thousands of people, it helps so many mums and single women and women in relationships and all of these things hold and sustain their businesses. And it's like that doesn't have to die just because you want to teach relational work, because everything's relational. And I think that's such an important part of this work, is like not letting the identity of what we've created lead too much, that the aliveness of like, cool, I'm going to be fed by bringing relational work, but also it's actually all interconnected. And I think that's the thing. It's like going back to what I was saying, it's like, it's not my lifestyle that's at the front, it's my vision that's at the front, and my lifestyle comes from that. I don't have to abandon my desire to travel and have new connections and all these things just because I want relationship and I want to build a business. It's like, that's all incorporated. My relationship to them shifts.
And I think the flip side of that, and what I teach women, is your business supports your life, not the other way around.
100%.
It's the ecosystem that we're building.
Totally.
It's like, why build a business with the mindset that you have to be trapped at a desk 9 to 5 days a week if that's not true for you?
100%.
If it is, go for fucking gold.
Yeah.
But if you want Fridays off, or if you want to be able to, one of my clients just took 8 weeks off to travel Australia in a caravan. When we first started working together, she was like, never, I can't do that. And she just learned to hire the right people and implement the right systems and have the right standards in her business. And to your point, it's like you're living from the truth of who you are in every expression, including business, relationships, friendships, the man when he comes. It's like, if I'm leading from this place of self, everything else fits into what's true as the embodiment of me. Maybe for someone else, it is travel the world and do their work. But I was the same. For me, it was a maturing. It was like, I'm a woman and I'm a mum and I'm calling in a husband. And do I want to be with a man that fucking is in a different location like every other week? Probably not. I want stability. I want consistency. Mm-hmm. The younger parts of me want to play and go and do things, but like the woman actually loves, like, I'm also a Cancer. I'm a bit of a hermit, like I want my place to come back to. Mm-hmm. I love being in routine. I love having my days of doing work and my days of being with Lincoln. And it's like, I actually thrive because I have the consistency and the stability.
Totally.
And for me, before this, rebuild in my business, before meeting my husband, I stopped traveling. Because I was in a different country every other month for a whole year. I think I went to 7 different countries in the space of a year. It was fun as fuck. And I got exhausted by it. Mm-hmm. And when I laid roots and committed to the business more deeply and committed to growing up, then everything actually started to fall into place.
100%.
Now I still travel. We still, value somewhere at least once a quarter. That's something that I will never let go of. I think you get so much expansion. But for me, it just became, which is what you're speaking to, exhausting doing it every month. Mm-hmm. And there was nowhere to anchor to. It just felt very younger. It just felt like immature parts. I just want to play. Let me make millions of dollars but not actually do anything for it.
Yeah, and I think there has to be something bigger than your business just feeding your lifestyle. It's like, what's the point in the business if it's not actually feeding an aspect of you too? Again, leading back to that ecosystem where your lifestyle gets created with the business there. But if it's not feeding a part of you, I think anything that costs you yourself is not true. Anything that requires you to live outside of what's actually honest is not true. And so when we start to anchor into, where do I have to leave myself to have these things? And where am I just doing this thing so that I can actually live like this, as opposed to it being honest, and I believe in this and I want to do this and I want to serve this and people need to know about this. More people need to be living like this. If that's not at the forefront, it's like your lifestyle is empty.
Truly.
Your business is empty. Your life is empty. And so I think so much of it is of that truth is what fills me and what lets me stay with myself so that I can live as me in all areas. You don't have to be, you might have a different energetic in your relationship to business and your partner, right? You might embody a different energetic, but you're not a different person.
No.
And you don't have to leave yourself to be in your relationship with Lackey, and then you don't have to put on a hat to be Leslie, the 8-figure business. It's like, as soon as you start doing that, you're off. There's no truth.
I love this because especially with the feminine movement, and I see so many women well, I've just been told I've got to be more feminine, which isn't actually entirely true. You've just got to be more you. And this truth of, And it is like, for me, it's alpha, omega, or masculine, feminine. Like, I am just more masculine in my business.
Yep.
As soon as husband comes, I'm like, I can't make any decisions.
Yeah.
Because
what's my name?
What?
Who am I?
Yeah. How do I function in life? I put a post out there about going to the airport. I'm like, how does one even travel by themselves anymore? This is ridiculous. Quit your job, please, so you can just follow me around and take care of me. I don't want him to do that. Men need purpose. But I'm still me. And in fact, my business thrives more because people get to see the essence of the playful, feminine, softer, nurturing side versus like the mask of success or the mask of the leader. I'm like, I can lead and be penetrative and directive and also have the essence of the playful, nurturing, heart-led version of me, that I am the same person. And the difference is when my husband comes home, I intentionally let go of the need to control or be masculine or be directive. I'm like, this has served me and now I can let it go.
And also in your business, how much that feeds an aspect of you, because you don't have to pretend to be put together. Everything's great. Everything's successful. I'm doing great today. You don't have to uphold that either. You can just be honest, come on your calls and say, I'm actually meeting this edge and it's stretching me here. And I had this conversation with my partner and I'm feeling triggered. And it's like that honesty feeds you.
Truly.
And through you being fed is what makes you more successful.
Truly. And I also don't want to ever, and I talk about, I'm very candid in my spaces. Like, I don't ever want to feed the illusion of perfectionism.
No.
Or the illusion that I've got it all figured out, because I don't. Nobody does. And if they tell you they do, they're delusional. So for me, it's important to show up as the woman I am, not the leader that people might pedestal me to be or expect me to be. And I'm very clear. It also gives like this space for grace and like, oops, sorry, didn't post the thing, fucked up there, I'm not perfect, like, but I'll get it done. Now I've realized, and that like the space to be in correction and to not be perfect in it. I've loved this conversation. I feel like we could go on for hours. It's like, this is why I love this work, because the world I'm in needs more of you and the world you're in needs more of me.
Totally.
It's like, it's why I resonate so much with your work, because like you said, you're like feminine led, but really you bring a lot of masculine understanding internally, which then allows an external representation of that. But yeah, have always been like a this and woman, like this and this, not this or. It's like I don't choose to be feminine and let go of my masculine traits. It's just not true. There's no life without structure of some form. Like our body is structure. Our consciousness is actually masculine. Every thought we have is technically our masculine form. Our emotion and our expression is feminine. So yeah, I love bringing this conversation. I think the reason I went to retreat, the world needs to know that what we have access to.
Yeah, and we're just starved of it. And
Truly.
I just feel like in our nature as the feminine, it is creation, it is life, it's pouring life into things, it's essence. And, you know, with AI and all these tools, we start to get further and further away from the truth of who we are, which is just like a world that I do not want to live in.
Truly.
It's a world I do not want to live in. It's like, imagine if nature didn't exist and all we did was live in city. That is like what we're looking at.
Truly.
And so our essence is our nature. And so for us to be able to exist in that is such medicine. And I just see the ways that it's not just a gift to the world, but it's a gift to ourselves to live that and to be able to be the life in life.
Yeah, like the living expression, what it means to be alive. And I love actually the contrast that we bring. And I sort of had this in my mind, but it's come back through again of like, I'm very deep in almost like what it means to be, I have a very 3D business and my coaching business.
Oh yeah, your 3D business.
My 3D business. I have a virtual assistant business. We serve normal businesses. Like we're like in the matrix.
Yeah.
And
they need you.
They need me, God. Little do they know. No, there's no, I mean, there might be some secret codes in that business, but, and then then my husband is in a very 3D construction blue collar business. I guess to those that aren't curious enough to look beneath the surface, we have a very traditional life. Like, he goes to work, our kids go to private schools, we have traditional businesses. You know, I do go dance in a field barefoot twice a year, but to the rest of the world, we have a very traditional existence. And I was really reflecting on like the permission that you can live in both worlds, and it doesn't need to be this or, you know, I was actually talking to a lawyer the other day who looked very straighty 180, and I was talking about, he was like, what did you do for New Year's? And I'm like, oh, I went to a doof in the middle of the paddock somewhere. And he goes, which one? Was it Blaze? And I'm like, what? So like, it's almost like
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Inception in a great way. We've infiltrated the matrix. But for me, I was like, wow, thank God, like there's I'm going to be fully expressed. Anyone that wants an actual awakening into what it means to be a woman, please go to Melody. And also, if you're in business and you're like, I know there's more and maybe I'm curious and I want my business to start supporting my life, maybe the other way around, come to me. But I was really just reflecting on how, like, the brilliance of the different flavors of what it is to be in service, and to bring it back to this conversation about if I had have just decided that I was going to be a tantric teacher 6 years ago, how not everyone can access that because they're not ready to go that deep into it, where my mission from God has always been to like be the bridge. Like, one of my first messages in plant medicine was, I'm here to be the bridge and to weave the worlds. If I'd have just disconnected and gone and lived in Costa Rica, you know, in Tantra, and I love it, guys. I was in it. It's not all bad. But if I had have not seen through the illusion of, it's like parts of who I am and what my mission is, but not the full picture. And if I had have gotten stuck in entitlement, or like if I stopped being curious, then I wouldn't be serving the women that are like on the edge, very closed and disconnected and sterile, that are ready to take the next step into what's possible, but maybe they're not ready for a week-long retreat with 21 other women. And so, yeah, I just wanted to like bring it back to this place of trusting the path. Don't look at the macro and be like, fuck, this is a big mission. Like, what's the next step inside of that? And then being you enough and be willing to be you enough. You know, like, I know women that do this work that don't talk about it because they don't want their image to be tainted, or I can't post this woo-woo online, or what would people think of me? And I think it's like the bravery to actually be like, yeah, I'm a badass. I build businesses. I have a traditional business, and I'm going to like bring you to the edge of your awakening, or I'm going to give you permission as a woman in business to stop living so sterile. Like, that word to me like does something to me, because if I look at who I was, I would constantly wear headbands, constantly have my hair pulled back. I would have to be in a suit. I would have to have a full face of makeup on. Yeah, there was just this sterility, this like stripping back, because it's dangerous to a lot of people to be a fully expressed woman, or we've decided it's unsafe because of something. So yeah, just for those that are listening that are like, oh, this has stirred something in me, and I feel like it will for a lot of women, like stir this deeper curiosity of what it means to be fully expressed and how you can have both and everything. And I think having teachers that aren't afraid to hold the penetration you hold of like, we're not just dropping our responsibility to go be naked in the forest. It's a crucial conversation, because I think in my view, and what was true for me like 6 years ago, it's like I'm afraid of you because I don't understand you. And I think I'm going to have to lose everything to become you. But you're not actually asking anyone to become you. You're asking them to become more of themselves. Like, I'm nothing like you in a great way, but I'm more of me. And that's the point. It's not when I did Tantra, now I'm a Tantrika. I went and did Tantra. It awakened my sexuality. It made me find my own truth. It made me realize that there's more to life than money, like it brought me alive. It gave me my life back. It gave me my essence back. I actually also want to touch on this. We're going to go on. We're going to be here forever. Guys, bear with us. It's worth it.
I'm here for it. Got snacks?
Got snacks. Get a snack. Go on the car. This for the women that are listening that are like, this feels like a lot, but it's stirring something inside of me. Where do they begin? And I think this is why teachers, whether it's like, I'm going to go to Leslie because I'm just going to be curious enough and we're going to pretend it's about my business, but it's about me, or someone that's like, I actually really, because I don't do sexuality work. Like I'll introduce you to it, I'll talk about it, but I don't do sexuality work. If someone's listening and they're like, actually, this has really like invoked something inside of me, what's the first steps and why do you think working with someone's important?
Yeah, so what I got from your share before was that doing this work actually brought soul back to your life, where life had felt sterile and where it had been just about getting the business and the money and all of those things, but there was almost like no meaning.
Fully.
And this is what corporate is, right? It's like there's no meaning, there's no life in it. And so what I hear from your share is that it brought you back soul, it brought you back connection. And so if you're somebody that sits on that side of things where everything's kind of feeling empty and you've got the Range Rover and you've got the husband, but like it's not
and
feeling
the
Louis Vuitton and it's not feeling like it's filling you, then there's a disconnection from your soul that is asking for your integration. And so I think where you start is, I think one of the great things about social media is that we have a lot of access to a lot of different types of people. Find someone that you resonate with, that you feel like maybe it's an edge and you might feel a bit of projection, a bit of judgment, a bit of resistance towards them, but underneath that you can feel like they have something for me. And just get curious. There's so many people that you can work with out there that are doing really advanced work, and then everyone also offers really foundational work.
Truly.
So just find their container that is of foundation, that invites you into an intimate relationship. It's going to start with your body. The body is going to be your intimate relationship because that's where the feminine lives. So it's all about getting into a relationship with your physical body, and that can be a wide range of things. Like you could be looking at pussy work, which can be real triggering for a lot of people.
That word used to trigger me.
Yeah.
We don't say pussy, thank you.
Exactly. Or it can just be like starting to have a relationship with your skin and these things. How do you start to build intimacy with yourself? And I think that's where you need to start if you want to find a connection to your life in the sense of like aliveness, that you feel like you're living in doing the spreadsheets and doing the funnels and all those things, that there's life there. And the only way that's going to happen is through your physical body. So start there. And I've spoken why teachers are so important, but just so that you can see yourself, have a reflection, have somebody guide you. All you need is somebody that's taken a couple steps further than you, and they're going to be able to help you.
Truly.
Yeah.
And on that, Eliza, we'll talk forever. How do people find you? What actually, if you can just speak to the woman that might be listening, that, like maybe they follow me because they have just started a wellness-based or an embodiment-based business, and they know that they're not in responsibility, or they're in the floaty I should receive. Like, yeah, to that woman, where do they start, and how does all of these women find you if they're feeling a resonance to your work?
The first place you start is radical honesty. I think that is one of the biggest things. What's that meme that goes around that says the amount of transformation somebody can experience is the
proportionate to the level of discomfort.
Yeah.
Or truth you can face about yourself.
Exactly.
But I also want to say the level of discomfort you can hold.
Yes, truth is uncomfortable.
Yes.
And getting radically honest with yourself of where am I, who am I in relationship to this thing that I say I want? One of the hardest inquiries my teacher ever gave me was, why do you think you don't have what you say you want? And I was like, oh, holy shit. And it's like, okay, cool. So you think that you want this business and you want to create this thing. So who are you in relationship to that it will be very obvious to you once you start to look why you don't have the things that you say that you want. Where are you floating? Where are you sitting around being in your receivership and expecting life just to come to you? I'm like pretty big on masculine integration.
That's why I love you.
Yeah.
I couldn't have a floaty tick. Could you imagine me with like a I'd be like, I'm bored.
Totally bored. That
This feels feels like a lie to me. Not true. Next, please.
Deceiving me. And it is deception. The sooner you wake up to that illusion that you can just lie around in self-pleasure and make the business that you want, the quicker that you're actually going to get some results. So you need to start with radical honesty of just who am I in relationship to this thing that I say that I want to create? Where is my dedication? Where is my devotion? Where is my embodiment? Who am I? Mm-hmm. Am I actually living as this? Mm-hmm. And then once you've asked those questions, you can find me on Melody Lubin on social media. It's very business orientated. It's very service orientated. And then I have another one called Siren, which is an activation into the dark feminine.
I love this. Talk to me about Siren. I feel the essence of the woman that's for Siren, it's almost like when you're ready to be completely unapologetic.
Totally. Siren is really unique. It's a frequency of sexuality and magnetism. It's your radiance. It's your magnetism. It's knowing that you are irresistible to life and your partner if you're single without a partner, but it's very much how you show up in your interrelationship of your sexuality with life and a partnership. And we're going to be looking at a lot of different polarities of what it is that you attract within partnership and within men, and how you can get really clear in your aliveness and your sex.
Love it.
Yeah, it's really hot. It's saucy. It's 6 weeks. It's just an initiation. We go in, we come out.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then your smaller containers or your self-paced stuff for maybe the woman that's like, and you guys will tag her in the show notes, you'll be able to find her, but just for someone that's like maybe disconnected because they're like, I can't commit to 9 months. I don't even know myself. What's the bite-sized stuff that you have to let people like taste themselves and taste the work?
Yeah, I have this really beautiful container called Cultivate, and it's got over 100 recorded videos of various different practices that you can start to do to build your relationship. It starts off foundational, where you're learning to build a relationship with yourself, and then it deepens into your full expression and essence and frequency, really giving you guided practices to touch different aspects of yourself. And it's epic, and it's my own personal practice that I do most days, and that's the foundation of it. It's a moving, breathing, living embodiment practice.
And it's like 15 minutes a day, guys.
15 minutes is £44 a month. It's nothing.
For those of you that are like, fuck, I can't, like if you can't give yourself 15 minutes, that's problem number one right there. I've touched and jumped into Cultivate a few times when I realized that I've like not created enough space for myself. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to give myself 15 minutes and we'll start there. Because it's the micro that makes up the macro. Just for those of you that love strategy, it's let's start in the little.
And it's full nervous system work. It's full capacity work. It's energetic work. So there's quite a lot of coding that's translatable to business and self. It's powerful. I love it.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and generosity of wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. We literally could speak for hours. Maybe we'll do podcast 2.0, but thank you.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Unmasked Founders with me, Leslie Kay. Follow Leslie Kay on social media for more insights, and we'll see you in the next episode. You can find me at Leslie with a Z, Kaye. Check the show notes for how to spell my name. Remember, true success is built from the inside out.